Dear class, just a short video to encourage those of you who are battling with the premise of the final of creating an imaginary tragedy, and to bid a fond farewell to you. I can see that my hair is flying strangely into the air. The reason for that is that there's a fan over there. It's actually hot today, a strange burst of weather in the 70s, up to 79. So what it's doing, I think it's going to go change its mind and go back again soon. So yes, a very fond farewell. It's been the strangest of semesters and awfully distressing for many of you. Some of you actually smitten by the COVID virus, others having to cope with an afflicted household or even run one. So you will not remember this spring gladly. I, however, will remember it for how well you stuck to your task, most of you. Did the reading, turned the quizzes into mini essays, as if the questions were actually bullet points and not just yes-no questions. Wonderful. And have turned in midterms and finals. To me, this is astonishing. And actually, many other classes have just lit off for the woods. And who can blame them? But I feel very blessed. You've been very kind and loyal. And so I shall remember this very, very gratefully. So yes, those of you who are thinking, how on earth do I manage to write a play? Well, many of you have done exactly that, either because you are already writers and you were able to take hold of the idea, or you weren't, but you managed to put something on paper which is good, is so dramatic, even melodramatic, that it does qualify for tragedy. And I realized that quite inadvertently, without realizing what I was doing, I was confronting those of you who might want to be a writer with the problem that most afflicted me as a beginner, as a beginning writer. As I'm sure you know, I spent a lot of my life, most of my life, writing 12 novels and 200 plays. So that's been a lifetime. And one of the important experiences of my early years is that I found it very difficult to kill anyone. Occasionally I could have somebody die off if they were very old. But I found death very difficult to deal with. I was in my 20s. I couldn't really put myself into a place where I could usefully write about a death. It loomed. I didn't know what to do with it. And it wasn't until I embraced the idea in a play that won me prizes, a play called I Never Killed My German, about an English retiree, an old guy, whose girlfriend, same age as him, is stolen away, as he sees it, by a German bishop who met the retiree's daughter while she was on the lam wandering around Europe, and fell in love with her, and so has come to meet her father and finds himself again falling in love. This is a very strangely amorous German bishop with the old man's girlfriend, and steals her, and the old boy kills him. And I'd broken through a barrier. I had murder in my work. It took a lot. It wasn't until I was 30 that I managed that. It changed everything for me. I didn't, after that, constantly have people murdering other people, although sometimes I did. In one of my novels, there are 7 murders committed by 7 different people, although some of them know each other. And every one of them gets away with it. I think it's 1 or 2 who end up actually being murdered themselves, but Nobody gets arrested. I've always been fascinated by the idea that murder is its own punishment or reward, depending, and that really the police should have nothing to do with it. I think many writers and quite a few criminologists have felt that way, that murder is a unique crime. It's not usually repeated, although there are mass murderers, there are serial murderers, but by and large, murder is a single act of passion, crime of passion. And certainly there are writers, George Bernard Shaw, famous writer, who felt that it should be treated with compassion, but that anybody who stole a loaf of bread should probably be hanged. His idea wasn't that you deserve to be hanged, but that if you want a society that is run in a way that minimizes crime, be very harsh on the little things and let the big ones go. He was a smart old boy. Anyway, I have had killings in my plays and my novels since that first breakthrough. But here you are, I have pushed you into the pool. When I was at boarding school as a child of 8 or 9, we had to break the ice, which is usually a metaphorical term for beginning something. No, we broke. There was actually ice over the little indoor pool. It was indoors, but it was so cold that it had a little crust of ice, and we had to literally jump into it in the morning. Little freezing, naked boys, shrugging off our dressing gowns, shivering, hunching over with the cold and the horror of it all, and jumping in and screaming. What a thing to make little boys do. So once I'd broken the ice with that first play, I was, as the Irish say, away in a hack, meaning a hackney carriage which would shoot off in whatever direction you wanted it to go in. So I've asked you to break the ice, and you've done so. Those of you who've submitted some work, boy, have you done so well. You've got some gruesome damn stories that you have thought up. Excellent. Most of them, I would say, read like a short opera, and most of them should be set to music. Opera loves death. Opera is exactly opposed to musical comedy, which doesn't much love death, although there are some. And Oklahoma, almost the founding opera, musical comedy of the modern era, has a wonderful song where a character called Judd sings, "Poor Judd is dead." Never happens again in musical comedy. It's a wonderful moment. So you've done it. And what I'm concerned with for the rest of this little video is just to encourage you, if you're thinking, oh my God, this is like jumping into an icy pond, I'm not a writer. You don't have to be a writer. This is not a writing, suddenly turning itself into a writing class. It's not. Because it doesn't matter how good or bad. One of you sent in an extraordinary story which featured a villain, a 100-foot-high skunk called Sharaf. Well, I don't know if that's feasible or not, but I was delighted with it. If you do write something good, that's magic. But if you don't, it's fine. The main thing is you've tried to locate how it is that people write a tragedy, and your experience of looking for it will tell you more about tragedy than all the ideas, all the smart professors in the world put together. So trust your imagination. That's to say, don't beat up on it. Don't sit there going, oh God, this is useless, I can't think of anything. It's all right. Think of the first thing that comes into your mind and let it grow. Trust it. Stories, and I have to admit, it took me 20, 30 years to learn this. Stories want to write themselves. It's an extraordinary discovery. Once you discover it, which is something you do not by muscle power or force of brainy effort, but by letting go, by giving up, by surrendering to whatever the story has to bring to the table. And as long as you're looking for the right thing, the best story, you'll never find it, because it's waiting for you to stop getting in its way. So whatever idea comes into your head, whatever it is worth pursuing. It contains a story. It's hiding from you. And the way you encourage it to come out is just by relaxing. It will come out. Let it come out. Trust it. And in this case, since it's not a writing class, it can be as absurd as you like. But those of you who've already handed one in have understood it has to have death in it, really. It must have death in it. If it doesn't have death in it, you've got to work hard to create a tragic story, at least by Aristotelian standards. So I'm hoping that you'll give it a go. Whatever you hand in will be good enough. This is not a competitive exercise. I suppose it might be if this was a writing class. Even then, if it was my writing class, it wouldn't be competitive at all. I don't really believe in competition. So I'm delighted for you to hand in something. That something will be precious to me. And as I say, the only way I got to it was by thinking it's no good trying to do this. What I need to do is let it do the work. Very hard. It took me certainly 20 years, maybe 30 years, maybe more, to learn how to let the story do the work. Very difficult. Because you're constantly trying to not make an ass of yourself, make an idiot of yourself. So you're desperately trying to steer the vehicle, which is your novel or your play, in the right direction, as if you would know. It knows its way home. Give the horse its head. Now, if it was a horse, that would be easy enough to do. You just say, oh, damn it, I'm lost. Take me home. But these days, you couldn't say that to a car. Maybe there will be cars soon, even self-driving cars, to whom you'd say exactly that. You'd say, oh, Freddie, or whatever the Friederica name of the car is, I don't know where we are. Would you mind taking us home? And the car would. That's how you write a story. Every day you pray to it, and your prayer is, please write me. Not like, write to me, but write me. Because I know that I mustn't write you. It will come out as worse nonsense than anything that comes out when you allow yourself to be written by your idea. So trust it. You cannot go wrong. And certainly in this arena, you can't make a fool of yourself. I know it's still possible to make a fool of oneself to and for oneself. Nobody likes doing that. On the other hand, who cares? I'm going to enjoy it, and you should enjoy it with me, because it's such an interesting exercise to see if you can tiptoe into that extraordinary garden of the gods where we have permission to be written and to stop insisting on running our lives and knowing best and trying to make our lives into this, that, or the other. But stop. Trust the direction that your own story, your life story, and the story you're writing want to go in. That alone will make you happy, and that alone will make you feel it's yours, the thing that you finally produce, think you've produced, but that finally produces you. Same with your life. The best parts are the things you didn't foresee, you didn't bring off, you didn't create at all. They're things that you enabled to happen, like accidents to which you open your life. So do the same with a story, a melodramatic story, I guess, with Aristotle as your guide. I look forward to each and every one, and I wish we were having a proper farewell, and actually a face-to-face farewell. But some of you, I'm hoping, will be around for a bit and will join my summer class. So I think I can have as many students as possible. There's no limit to remote and online studying, or in the fall, or next year. I'm afraid I'm not absolutely convinced that we're going to have the magic vaccine at the end of this year, so be patient. Hard, I know, but be patient. So I do hope to see you again, whether in the flesh or on the screen. Be safe, and it's been a joy. Thank you so much for being in my classroom, both virtual and real. Bye-bye now.